Tex, good morning. Welcome back to News Breakfast.
Good morning, Virginia. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Tex. Gee, that title must have involved a fair bit of thought.
Yeah, Tex.
Well, look, I fought hard. I wanted it to be called Textbook.
That's quite nice. Why didn't you win on that?
I know. I've had to fight for every word on this book, Virginia.
It doesn't seem like you left very much on the cutting room floor.
Oh.
Was there a moment, well, this is a question for you, was there a moment at the beginning or in the middle of the book where you thought, OK, there's some stuff I need to leave out?
Whatever I couldn't make funny. I mean, I go to some grubby places, some dark places, and but if there wasn't a gag or a joke on every page, that's what life should really be about. You get enough distance, and you look back at horrible things, and you have a chuckle about it.
You're an entertainer at heart, in every respect of the word.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been rarely called that, but yes, you're right. At its core, that's what I seek to do.
You're a lover and a fighter as well. The book opens with this chapter about you being on stage and encouraging audience members to hurl beer bottles at you. Why?
Well, some gigs used to get like that. I've had things thrown at me for many, many years. Like my first band, when we first got to Sydney, we'd support a lot of bands, and we'd always have this shower of cans.
Well, you were egging it on. I mean, you were that kind of front man.
Well, early on, we used to get cans, and then one night I said, hey, listen, you can throw cans all night, but how about you throw money? A 50-cent piece could really hurt. And we made an extra $47 that
night. It's a wild opening scene, but I guess the essential part of that opening scene of the book is to explain that at that moment, with blood streaming down your face, the audience going wild, you being dragged off stage by security, you thought to yourself, this is it. This is what I've wanted. I'm at the centre of it right now. This is what I like.
There's a rock and roll checklist that you go down.
The bucket list.
I won't go into all of it, but bleeding profusely on stage is one of the things.
Why did it feel so good?
You've got to try it. You've got to try it. I don't know. It was, I'd been hit right in the middle of the forehead with a beer bottle from like 40 feet away, and I was bleeding, and I could have, thank you very much, good night. But no, it was like, now we'll have a show.
There you go.
So I don't know, it's the audience I've always, felt the audience could become my adversary at any second. They're ready to turn.
Yeah,
you're only as good as the last, not gig, last sentence you said.
Yeah.
They can turn, no, that's not good enough.
With a few words. You've come a long way from Tex Deadly and the Dum Dums. What got you into music? What attracted you about the whole music scene, writing songs in the first place?
Well, I've been in bands for a few years before the idea of writing songs, really. We used to discuss songs rather than write them, okay, you start by going bang, 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 and I know you do that, and there was more a sort of a discussion than whenever writing anything. And so, and with my first band, everything was a 12-bar. There was a pretty
it's a nice place to start.
Standard formula. But I got into bands, yes, before I got into music, really. People saw something in they saw my ability to create a spectacle, and that was a good element to have in a front man.
Yep.
And I got into bands for that reason before they knew I could. Anything could come out of my mouth.
But when it came to the songwriting, at least from reading your book, it seems like the words, it was the words first rather than the music, and often the idea of a word or a phrase or something that you'd heard would sort of become, the button, and you just have a suit, made around it.
Well, there's quite a few ways. With the Cruel Sea, for instance, the music was always first. They were an entirely instrumental band when I first met them, and I resisted joining them because I loved them the way they were so much. But eventually I just started hearing words there within their melodies and
phrases like
exactly.
I'm going to send you back to wherever the hell it was you came, and then I'm going to get this tattoo changed to another girl's name.
Exactly. That entire song hangs off those lines.
Yes.
Those are the lines that I wrote first.
At the risk of offending a lot of your friends, have you got a favourite stage of your career? Cruel Sea, Beast of Burden, Tex, Don and Charlie?
I'm pretty happy right now. About to do we've just released a new Tex, Don and Charlie album.
About to tour with it?
And in a couple of weeks start a rather extensive tour.
You hit that every 12 years, I think you guys get together. Yeah.
Inadvertently.
You're not very productive.
Well, we do other things. Don's pretty busy. Cold Chisel gets in the way of Tex, Don and Charlie these days, and I've got a few other things that I do. But yeah, we only release albums in the Chinese Year of the Rooster.
That's very auspicious.
I'm not sure. I've not got our charts done. I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
You have this big rock and roll image, but I was really interested in one particular section in the book where you write about this, backstage meeting of you and some of your absolute heroes. There was Sonic Youth there. I think Nick Cave was there. The emergent Nirvana was there as well. It was one of those moments that I guess a rock person might slide into the groove, but you found it too much. You found it overwhelming, and you slipped with your wife back to the hotel. I think you watched a
Twilight Zone
marathon. Why did you not feel at home in that world?
It was the most popular band in the world on the most popular American television show, and I don't know. It was just like, what the hell am I doing here?
So you've always felt like something of an outsider? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Look, yeah. I think the top of the heap is once you get to the top of the mountain, it's the only way is down. Yeah. And it's just so I don't know. Me and my kind of people that we're workers in song. We play the long game. I mean, Kurt Cobain was gone less than 6 months later from that. Yeah. So maybe I felt that vibe. But I love the fact that I can still work after all these years without having to sort of put on having to be at the top of the charts or all that sort of
but you certainly
supposed success.
You've had great success. You weren't intimidated when you were supporting the Stones on their '95 Voodoo Lounge tour, and you said you're quite loose. Do you think I was a cheeky? You were very cheeky. You actually introduced them as the Beatles. How did that go down?
I don't know. Keith was pretty scowly with me, but I think he's pretty scowly with anybody. I mean, I remember the day we played at the MCG, and Ronnie and Keith have a full-size billiard table set up backstage, and they play a game of something before every show. And I wandered over there and had a look, as you do, and I noticed Keith was terrible, and it became awfully embarrassing to be just standing there watching him play like.
How do you wander off in the middle of a really bad game?
I took a couple of steps back, but an exit would have been even more conspicuous. But then it was raining that day. It was at the MCG, and I said, "Well, so what happens when it rains?" And Keith looks up and says, "You get wet." Oh, right. Thank you for that.
Exit stage left. Within all of this messy, hilarious, mad life being left behind by bus drivers who realised you weren't on the back and in the middle of Spain and elsewhere, you find a place and you find time in this book to write very beautifully and movingly about your children. How did children fit into all of that craziness?
Well, I have first had my daughter Tuesday. I was 25, so I've been a parent more than half my life now. So that was a struggle at first, but I'm so glad now she's a grown woman, and I couldn't be prouder of her. And I know I have 5 children now, and I'm still I'm still at the coalface. I'm still right there, up to my elbows in it, and loving it really. Actually, I took my son on tour for 2 weeks recently over the school holidays.
How'd that go?
Fantastic. He ended up working with the crew every night. They gave him real meaningful jobs. He had to pick up all the plectrums, all the towels, empty all the half-drunk cups on stage, and rip up all the tape. And but he didn't get paid.
But his father's eternal love. Hey, Tex, we could talk here all morning, but we can't because the clock is telling us that we can't. But it's a pleasure seeing you again. Congrats on a really, really fun memoir. It's a great read.
Thank you.
Go well.